Welcome to this week's episode of Thinking Thursday, and I'm your host, Jasper James. I'm an intuitive, healer, author, and founder of Social Justice as a spiritual practice. I'm honored to be your guide on this journey where spirituality meets social change. Last week, we asked a big question. Is this a time to disconnect or reimagine how we engage? This week, I want to follow that thread and invite you into a deeper dimension of that question. What if reimagining how we engage means first learning how to listen? And not just listening with our ears, but with our bodies, our intuition, even our souls. We live in a world so saturated with noise, literal and metaphorical, that we're often reacting more than relating. We scroll, we post, we argue, we flee, but rarely do we stop and attune ourselves to what's actually vibrating beneath the surface of all that noise. Here's where sound comes in. Not just as something we hear, but as a teacher. Sound carries frequency, and frequency is a way of being. I feel reminded of what true engagement feels like through the lens of a musician. Growing up, I prided myself on being an alto. My choral teacher used to tease me, saying I was just a lazy soprano, but it was never laziness. It was something deeper than that. I chose to sing alto because I was fascinated by harmony. I loved how the alto line moved differently, how it wove in and out of the melody, supporting it without overpowering it. And to be a good alto, you had to really listen, not just to your own voice, but to everyone around you. You had to pay attention to the nuances and subtleties of the music, to know when to lean in and when to hold back. Whether I was singing in a Holy Ghost-filled gospel choir, where the energy felt electric and transcendent, or standing stiff as a board in a high school opera chorus, where every note had to be precise and measured. The lesson was the same. Harmony requires awareness. It taught me that engagement isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about finding where your note belongs in the larger song and offering it with intention. Even now, outside the choir loft, I still think about that. When the world feels like dissonance, I ask myself, what is the harmony here? What is my note to contribute? So what if engaging with the world doesn't always mean doing more? What if it means becoming quiet enough to discern the right note to play, the right words to say, and the right silence to hold? And when protests erupt and injustice blares at us from every screen, I understand how hard it is not to meet it with anger. But sometimes, and this is just as essential, showing up means pausing to attune yourself to the deeper frequency of the moment and asking, what is truly being called for here? Being involved with sound has taught me this. Not every note belongs in every song, and not every voice needs to rise all at once. Some frequencies heal simply by existing. So this week, I invite you to listen to the quiet within, the subtle frequencies that tell you where you fit and where you can harmonize. Because this isn't just about resisting dissonance, it's about creating resonance. That about does it for this week's episode of Thinking Thursday. And if this message resonates with you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires growth, spiritual connection, and mindful action. Until next week, I'm Jasper James. Let's continue to build a world rooted in equity together.